Hey all you real estate enthusiasts, welcome to Real Estate 101. Real Estate 101 is a series where I walk you through everything you need to know about buying a home, from dream to reality and even life post-possession. I'm Val, a licensed realtor with Royal LePage Solutions with 15 years of experience. I'm super passionate about real estate and love helping people navigate the buying and selling process. But enough about me. Today we are going to talk about judicial sales and foreclosures. Foreclosures and judicial sales. I get a lot of calls about those and have for over the 15 years. Everybody wants a deal and they think this is the best way to go. So today I'm going to talk about some of the truths and some of the myths of buying these properties with a past. First, I'm going to talk about foreclosures. Foreclosures are pretty straightforward. Probably 98% of them are a case of the owners have quit making their mortgage payments. Likely in this case, they haven't paid their mortgage for close to a year before it even hits foreclosure. You have to be a good 6 months behind in your mortgage payments before the bank will even start to take legal action, and for the order of nishi to come through and for them to get possession of the home and be able to force you out and sell your home, it can be about a year. So if you can imagine, there's already a family or a couple living in a property that they can't afford to pay, and they owned it one time and had great pride about it, and now they have no money. You can imagine the deferred maintenance and the wear and tear that's going to happen on this property. They may have even tried to rent it and even rent by the room. I've seen some like that, and there's additional wear and tear. So the first thing you need to understand about a foreclosure is probably in almost all of them, there's going to be needing some work. A lot of people would rather put in sweat equity than cash. So maybe this is a good option for you. So here's the other thing you need to know about foreclosures. When you do finally get possession, because often the court has to order them out and we hope to get vacant possession on the date we specified in the contract, you're going to need to prepare yourself that the property you viewed might not look the same 90 days later. Often I've seen on possession day, the owners have decided to take the light fixtures with them, all the appliances, and believe me, they did not put the appliances on a dolly and carry them carefully across their hardwood floors. They might have dragged them. I've also seen other deferred maintenance in the basement. I've seen deferred maintenance around windowsills and roofs. So you can anticipate that not only will you have some cosmetic repairs, but you have major mechanical or structural repairs ahead of you when you purchase these properties. They're not all in bad shape. Some of them are quite salvageable, livable, and you can fix them up. And if you want to turn around and sell them in a few years, you can absolutely make a tidy profit on them. But be prepared to roll up your sleeves and plan for the unexpected. Judicial sales are a little bit different. Often these have been taken over by the courts because there might have been criminal activity on the property and the banks were paid out by one of the insured companies for the mortgage of non-payment. In this case, yes, you might be purchasing a property with a bit of a history. There might have been a murder there. It might have been a grow-up. There might have been some illegal activity. I even came across a home that was being used as a brothel, which I didn't think was a thing, and quite intrigued that the courts took over that one, even though the mortgage was being paid. So judicial sales come in a variety of shapes and forms and across all price ranges. I've seen a judicial sale that the house wasn't even completed out in Bears Paw, and I've seen a judicial sale that is a one-bedroom condo. In fact, that one-bedroom condo, the condo board ended up buying it and renting it out as a revenue source. So there are a whole bunch of opportunities within judicial sales. You just have to have a bit of a stomach for it. Judicial sales are usually vacant when you get to go see them. The locks have often been changed, so you don't have to have the same worries and unpredictability as a foreclosure, because chances are nobody else is going to be going into that property or having access to that property from the time you purchase it until possession day. The one struggle with that is you're going to have to live with the stigma attached to that property. These properties are not ones that you can buy, update, renovate, and flip a few years later, because the neighbors next door are going to be sure to tell everybody what happened in that house. One such judicial sale occurred in Royal Oak, and actually it wasn't disclosed at the time. Many times they will not disclose the crime that happened until you write the offer, because they want to see what you think it's worth first, and then they'll disclose the crime. One of the little secrets of a judicial sale listing agent. I walked into this house and I knew right away, obviously there had been a murder here. I mean, aside from some of the unclean areas, you could tell all the way to where the crime scene had occurred. As it turned out, the reason it became a judicial sale is because this gentleman passed away in the home. He had a tenant that actually killed him. He did not have a will, and he didn't have any next of kin. So what happens in that case is it goes right. So judicial is not just an injustice, but it goes to the courts, and the court decides what to do with the home. And of course, in this case, they would have sold the home and the proceeds would have gone to victims of crime. Crime is not the only reason a property goes into judicial sale status. Sometimes it's bankruptcy, and sometimes it's business debt. In any case, it's where there's more than just the bank who has a financial interest in the property. So, you've found a judicial sale that you would like to purchase. And now what happens? Well, the first thing that happens when we write the offer is we let the listing agent know that we're writing on this property and we need to have it presented to the court. The lawyer in charge of the case will advise the courts that an offer has come in and a court date will be set. The court date is usually 2 to 3 weeks away, so we have to leave the offer open for that long. As you can imagine, it's quite costly for a judge to come into the courtroom and pick an offer. Generally speaking, you have to sign a Schedule A saying you are accepting the property as is, no warranties or representations, and no negotiations. And further, you usually have to have a clean offer. In other words, you've already done your home inspection and you've already satisfied your financing condition. So you may be paying for a home inspection on a home that you still don't yet have and aren't guaranteed to purchase. But that's what you have to do. Or you waive the home inspection, you get your financing all locked up, and then you go to court for the offer. Yes, you can attend court, but you don't have to. You can send your realtor. I have sat through court. It is quite fascinating to sit through residential and tenancy problems. And then your court case comes up. We all listen to the offers because that's the other risk with buying a judicial sale. Chances are, once the court date is set, that listing agent's going to let all the buyers that have been through in the past and any buyers that are going to be viewing the property that a court date has been set. So chances are you're going to be competing for the property. I've even had it where once the court date is set and the offers start coming in, the listing agent has received consent from the lawyer and the courts to disclose the amount of the offers on the table because they want to make sure they're not wasting the court's time with a bunch of lowball offers. So while the pretense is that you're going to save money on the judicial sale, sometimes you actually end up overpaying. So really understand the market, understand how the value of the stigma against this property is affecting its evaluation, and know how much you want to pay and be careful not to overpay. The good news is though, when you do finally get the keys on possession day, the locks have already been changed and the property should be in the same condition as you viewed it. You're just dealing with whatever stigma came with it. I will tell you there was one foreclosure that I had the privilege of representing the buyer, and possession day came and the buyer had had a heart attack a few weeks earlier and had refused to move out and cried because medical reasons he couldn't move. The court actually granted him time to stay in the property, and my folks had already given up their tenancy because they had a daughter that was starting school September 1st. In the end, this gentleman that owned the house fought the courts for so long that my folks couldn't wait any longer for possession because we were already going into October, and they had to walk away from the deal and purchase something else. In this case, you do lose your deposit because it was an unconditional sale that the courts had signed and accepted. So certainly be careful when approaching this type of sale because there are so many risks. On the bright side, I have had a client who bought a judicial sale in Auburn Bay, a lovely bedroom community, lake community too, and it was a 2-story home. And when he purchased it, not only were all the fixtures missing, but these previous owners were so angry that they were losing their home, they had literally pulled them out of the ceiling. So there was holes in the ceiling and the drywall had to be done. There was also extensive damage in the basement where it might have been a meth lab, we're not totally sure, but he got the house for a song. He was willing to roll up his sleeves and do a lot of equity, and in the course of time, he had 2 kids in this home, lived there for 5 years, and I'm happy to say we sold that home for a massive profit because he was willing to put in the work and have a little patience and pick the property that was right for him. So please understand, most of the times we can get you through the finish line with a win, but there are substantial risks that you take on when purchasing this type of home. Thanks so much for tuning in to Real Estate 101 and this episode on foreclosures and judicial sales. I hope you learned a lot about the risks and rewards of purchasing a property with a past. If you like this video, make sure you click the like button. If you want to keep up with my real estate videos here on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button below. I publish new videos every week. See you in my next video.